Today on Sports Central, we go over a college football bowl preview and prediction on the 2021 Cure Bowl matchup between Northern Illinois and Coastal Carolina. Both teams have had excellent seasons up to this point. Northern Illinois is the MAC champion, and Coastal Carolina is one of the best teams in the Sun Belt coming in. Should be a good matchup coming up here in the Cure Bowl. We'll be going over a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today, starting out with your team trends. Northern Illinois beat Kent State in the MAC championship. They are the MAC champions. They beat them 41-23. So yeah, overall solid performance out of Northern Illinois. And let me remind you guys, NIU, this team was just 0-6 last season. They were winless in the 2020 season and at the complete bottom of the conference, and here they are at the very top just a season later. So yeah, huge credit to the Huskies. They've had a great season. Turning things around from 0-6 to 9-4 is extremely impressive. So yeah, huge credit to them. And Coastal Carolina beat South Alabama in the last game of the regular season for them. 27-21 is the final score there. So yeah, overall solid performance out of Coastal Carolina. And this team has had a good season, 10-2, of course. They were expected to potentially win the conference, maybe be a national contender, which didn't end up happening, unfortunately for them. But still, 10-2 is a good record. Game will be on Friday, December 17th, Orlando, Florida. So this game is on the first day of bowl matchups, and 6 p.m. Eastern time is your kickoff time. Spread's going Coastal Carolina 9.5. So CCU is heavily favored in this matchup, which may seem surprising looking at the records at first sight, but there's definitely a reason behind that. We'll get into more about that in the stats here in just a second. But you're over under 63.5, so moderate scoring game is expected. Series history, first matchup between these two teams, which is going to be pretty fun seeing it in a bowl game. Here's your stat comparison, and here's what I was just talking about. Northern Illinois, 31 points per game. They're actually allowing more points per game on average than getting. 32 points allowed per game, which is pretty, that's something that you'd usually see out of a team that's slightly below 500 in the record. So for Northern Illinois being a 9-4 conference champion and still allowing more points than getting is something that's definitely rare, and that's kind of part of the reason why CCU is such a heavily favored team in this matchup. And if you look at Northern Illinois' schedule, it's a talented football team, and they know how to win because they've won so many close games this season. They've played a lot of close games, by the way. If you look at their schedule, they beat Georgia Tech by 1, they beat Eastern Michigan by 7, beat Toledo by 2, beat Bowling Green by 8, beat Central Michigan by 1, beat Ball State by 1, beat Buffalo by 6 in overtime. So it's happened that way all season long for NIU. Once again, they know how to win because obviously they've won a lot of those close games, but it's just an interesting stat seeing that there. 187 pass yards a game, 234 rush yards, and then for yards allowed, 232 passing, 215 for rushing. So rushing defense has also been a bit of an issue for the Huskies. CCU, 40 points per game, 20 points allowed. So that's definitely a stat line you typically see out of a 9 or 10 win football team. 261 pass yards a game, 231 rush yards, and then for yards allowed, 181 passing, and then 133 for rushing. So stat-wise, Coastal Carolina looks like one of the best teams in the nation. This is a football team that I think honestly underachieved in this college football season. So you've got two very different football teams here. You got Northern Illinois, which many people are saying have overachieved, and then you got Coastal Carolina, which is expected to, which is a team that is somewhat underachieved, if you ask me. So yeah, it's a very interesting matchup here in recent matchups. Northern Illinois beat Kent State 41-23, and there's your scores once again. And you can see two of those close wins right there. And they did take a close loss to Kent State back on November 3rd when they first played them, and lost to Western Michigan by 3 touchdowns in the last game of the regular season. So NIU, they're a good football team. There's no doubt there. But once again, the way that they've played a lot of close games this season does concern me a bit, especially considering Coastal Carolina is so close to being a 12-0 undefeated team right now. Their loss there against Georgia State was a tough one. They lost by 2 to Georgia State, 40-42, and they've been dominant otherwise. For the most part, beat Troy by 7, beat Georgia Southern by 20, beat Texas State by a couple touchdowns, and beat South Alabama. Coastal Carolina 10-2, good football team, and once again, there's no doubt these two teams are still very good football teams, but both teams are coming into this game with definitely much different storylines and stats on the season. Some key points: Northern Illinois 9-4, MAC champions. Rushing game has been excellent for NIU. They got a couple of very good rushers on this football team. If you look at, Ducker, their top running back, over 1,000 yards already. Whaley, you got several receivers, and of course Rocky Lombardi's also rushed a bit this season. Coastal Carolina, talented football team, 2 close losses. Defensively, they got a big advantage though. This is, and especially, even offensively, Coastal Carolina is I mean, you got Jones, your top running back. He's going to have a great day, I think, when they play NIU, because NIU's rushing defense has been, it's just been struggling all season long. So, I mean, for Coastal Carolina here, they got a talented football team, and I think in the rushing game especially, that's going to be a big part of this football game. And Grayson McCall, major impact player as well. Don't forget about him. That said, let's go ahead and get into the prediction here for NIU and CCU. I'm going to go Coastal Carolina here, and I'm pretty confident that Coastal Carolina wins this game. It's going to be, I mean, it could easily be a blowout. We'll see what happens. NIU just won a conference championship, so they got that going for them. But I think Coastal Carolina is the clear favorite for me to win this game. I mean, statistically, they're just, I'm just going to say they're just the better team. And, I mean, you got Coastal Carolina, who has underachieved this season, versus Northern Illinois, who has overachieved, if you ask me. And, I mean, if you look at the schedule and if you look at these two football teams, that's what you're going to see. And so, yeah, probability, I'd say 65 to 70% towards Coastal Carolina. Once again, though, huge credit to NIU. They've had a great season. Going from 0-6 to 9-4 is something that is very tough to do. So, yeah, huge credit to them. They've had a great season, but I just don't see them beating Coastal Carolina here unless CCU just plays terrible this game, especially statistically. I mean, Coastal Carolina with a good rushing offense going up against an absolutely terrible rush defense with Northern Illinois. It all sets up perfectly for CCU to have a great game here. I'm going to take the over and CCU to cover as well. Let me know your thoughts and comments below, and I appreciate you guys all watching. As always, stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll see you guys later.